Hello there and welcome to 2015 reading challenge number 37, and this is the start of our Shirley Jackson-a-thon. Oh yes. And I'm going to be sort of comparing and contrasting the two Haunting movies and the book The Haunting of Hill House. What I am mainly comparing in all three is the portrayal of the character of Eleanor. Now, I had not read The Haunting of Hill House when I first saw the 1963 The Haunting. I saw that in my teens, probably mid-90s, maybe early 90s. And I really loved it, but I was irritated by Eleanor a lot. I used to watch a lot of B-movies, and there is a particular character in B-movies. She is the woman who is guaranteed to fall apart. The one that's always clutching onto people and just like tearing her hair and going mental, and I felt like Eleanor was that character. Bear in mind, again, hadn't read the book. I was just convinced that Eleanor was the irritating hysteric, and I found her as irritating and hysterical as she was supposed to be to me. And that was that. Fast forward to seeing the second The Haunting movie, which was released in 1999. I did not see it then. I saw it some years later on TV. And again, I hadn't read the book yet, so I was just comparing it to the first movie, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I had no idea what the hell they'd done. I mean, they'd changed a lot of everything, including the history of the house and all that stuff. They tried to turn it into a more sort of scary movie. Didn't really manage it. It's not scary, it's just silly. And yet the character of Eleanor remains as hysterical and annoying as she was in the first movie. I'm like, oh, what? I just felt like it didn't work, any of it, in the second movie. The 1999 movie just does not work from beginning to end. It's terrible. Fast forward again to me reading, finally, after many, many years, The Haunting of Hill House. It was not the first Shirley Jackson I read. I read We Have Always Lived in the Castle and Hangsaman first. And believe me, no one more surprised than me to find out that The Haunting of Hill House was actually written after Hangsaman and The Bird's Nest. I'm not going to talk about those books quite yet. They're coming up. But I will tell you this. In those three books, there is a very specific, very neurotic, damaged, emotionally and mentally fragile character who is female, and this character is handled better in Hangsaman and the Bird's Nest than in The Haunting of Hill House. Eleanor's character undergoes a mental disintegration caused by Hill House, which latches in to her fragilities and kind of pulls them apart. For me, that would have been more frightening if she had found more strength before she started to untangle. I feel like there's a great capacity for strength in this woman. She has endured her mother for years. She has stood up to her self-interested sister and gone and done what she wants to do. And yet, within a very short time of actually getting into Hill House and having stuff start to happen, she just falls apart. And that does not feel convincing to me in the slightest. It doesn't feel scary to me in the slightest. I found Eleanor as aggravating and hysterical in the book as I found her in the two movies, and that was my biggest problem. After reading some other Shirley Jacksons and thinking, yeah, she's great, I was expecting to find a much more sort of well put together Eleanor in the book than I found in the movies, and I'm afraid I didn't. Yeah, so I kind of have a problem with that. And I didn't enjoy it as much, and I found myself irritated by it. I just felt like her whole mental collapse was so inevitable. It was so obvious that she was going to fall apart. And I think it would have been nice if during the bit in Hill House there was something that went toward making you feel like maybe Eleanor can get through this. Maybe Eleanor can beat this. Maybe Eleanor can find herself and find her personhood and get away and become independent. I kind of feel like Shirley Jackson let her down a lot in that. And it's not something I say lightly. I have read 3 other books by Shirley Jackson, and you'll be finding out my opinion of those. And it is not the same. This is a very different opinion, and for very specific reasons. And like I said, I was extremely surprised that The Haunting of Hill House was written after Hangsaman and The Bird's Nest. I felt it could have been a lot scarier and a lot more convincing, and that Eleanor could have been done greater justice as a character. Really don't feel like her internal consistency was there for it to be scary for me, or for it to be convincing that she would fall apart so completely in such a speedy fashion. Just my opinion. If you don't agree, we can discuss it. Perfectly happy to. And at some point I may rewatch that original, The Haunting, and see whether I feel the same about the portrayal of Eleanor in that, because it has been a while. But it will not change my opinion of the book. Sorry. The book is not my favourite Shirley Jackson. It is my least favourite, and it's for that reason. She let Eleanor down. So there we go. That's that. I will see you the Friday after next, because remember, next Friday I'm having the Friday off because I have stuff to do. And that book will be the first Shirley Jackson book that I read, We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I hope you'll join me for that. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.